Hi guys, welcome to Mason Productions. It's Dan and
Sarah.
Changed it up because Tyler's been busy this week. He's just been doing life shit, I guess. And I thought we'd use this opportunity to speak about the prom that we did last night, and I thought it was only fair that the person that helped me do my first prom, Sarah's sat with us. For people that don't know, Sarah's my partner and very involved with Mason Productions, so big shout out to Sarah. I guess we're going to start with pre-prom and then things that we've jotted down. So pre-prom, I guess, has been this prom was somewhat a good test run because it was a school that Sarah works at. Mm-hmm. For people who are watching this on YouTube or on Spotify with the functionality, we've got a big book here, and on this left hand side, it was a checklist of things that we needed.
Do not forget list.
Yeah, that we had so that we didn't forget. Sarah pretty much did this list, even though it's my handwriting. Sarah pretty much did this list. So I think the first thing that we want to talk about is card reader.
Yeah.
You want to touch on a card reader?
Other than the fact that we had to order it on Thursday night.
Yeah, so the prom was Friday and we ordered it Thursday night.
At about 9.
At about, 9 o'clock. Amazon Prime.
I just don't think we really thought about how people would pay. We presume that they would just pay by cash, but it's not really
the
thing anymore.
Slight overlook there on my behalf. I didn't really think how people were going to pay. Oh, Google's chatting to us in the background. Didn't really think about how people were going to pay.
And then we thought, people could just like bank transfer us, but if you're with Nationwide like we are, you have to have one of them stupid card readers.
Yeah, so 9 o'clock Thursday, we used a brand called SumUp. Brilliant, worked really well. They take no monthly fees, they just take out a small transaction fee, what works out I think at like 1.7% per transaction, what ultimately is perfectly fine. So yeah, we left that last minute.
And we're just praying that it would come.
Yeah, we prayed and prayed and prayed to the Amazon gods that it would turn up before I left the house. Because Sarah already works there wasn't enough time for her to come back home and then go back to the school. Because we moved house, Sarah is moving jobs. So it's over an hour drive to get to the school. Luckily, it turned up at about 1:30, 2 o'clock, and I was leaving at 4:30, so I was able to get 2 hours worth of charge in them bad boys, and I think was probably one of the best things that we did.
Yeah.
We took £25 on card.
Yeah.
On the night, so it was a good idea that we had it because a lot of people did bring cash, which was good, but obviously there's some people that just prefer card very much like myself. I think the next thing is we ordered the backdrops a couple of weeks back. If you follow me on Instagram, you would have saw that we had a delivery that day. Bit of an issue, wasn't there, with the curtains?
Yeah.
So the backdrops themselves come with it was the newer basic kit. Come with all of the right stuff, bar the material.
Well, it had the material. It just wasn't what we were expecting. It wasn't as wide. So when we put it up, and it's like 3 meters across by 3 meters down, the curtain bit was only probably.
Well, no, it's like 3 by 2 point something, wasn't it?
That was the curtain, yeah, but it goes to like 3 meters. So that was a little bit testing on Thursday night when we were doing it. Basically, our biggest problem is we just haven't had time to get it out of the box and put everything together. So it was a little bit last minute, but it did work. I managed to put it up at school during the day with floor tape and sticking it together, trying to pull it tight. And I do think it actually, you can't tell, we put 2 curtains together.
Photos came out really well. And also what I've done with the So the issue wasn't for like singular and for couple photos. The single was for anything more than 3 or 4 people. Was sort of where the issue lies. Boring you?
No, sorry, I'm so tired.
So the issue was when we had group photos. But what I've done in editing, because there wasn't that many that have been bought that were group. So what I've actually done, I used a clone tool to clone down the line, and then I burnt and smudged it.
For the next couple of events, obviously we've got one coming up where Tyler's going to be doing one. It'll be more to the fact of making sure we either buy 2 big ones, because even though I took 2 black ones to school, when you actually stand there and look at them, they're slightly different blacks. One's darker than the other. And one is longer than the other.
Yeah.
Which is annoying.
So, and we've got Alfie and Tyler doing one, and me and Sarah doing one at another school. That's the issue that we've got, is that we're double booked, but obviously there's 2 of us, so we can do that. Obviously me and Sarah now had a test run. Tyler and Alfie haven't. So I think we're going to probably, even if we buy one big backdrop and they use it, that's one less thing that they've got to encounter. Yeah. We've already dealt with it. So obviously we've now got some funds to go and sort of spend on some equipment. So it might be a case of that we do go out and buy some different backdrops and things, but we haven't really necessarily thought about it.
I think that'll be easier for Tyler and Alfie. They just need to be able to go in and
put it up
and
easy
enough set it up.
Yeah.
It just needs to be tight behind them. So that
like that, this podcast we're using one camera because this is Sunday and it's meant to go out tomorrow. But I wanted to talk about the prom, so we're going to use one camera. So please excuse. And it's not going to be a majorly long one. We've made some bullet points. We just want to sort of cover. Should probably say that at the start, but that's how we do it on this podcast. We just roll with it. I think.
Should we discuss what we think went well first?
Yeah, what went well? Photos turned out good.
Yeah. I think the photos at the start were good, where you were outside taking photos as they come in, because their package is that Dan is there from like 3 to 4 hours, they pay a fee, and they get all of the photos he takes of them arriving.
So just to touch on that, We've gone for a slightly different package than some of the other photographers locally. So some photographers don't charge the school, but they charge the students per photo that they want to buy, and they're sometimes quite expensive. I've seen some photographers charging students £25 per photo because of the ink and all that. As we sort of have gone for a different route where we charge the school or the prom committee, however you want to sort of see it, we charge them X amount, what is £100, and then children's photos range from £1 to £5.
Yeah.
So,
and they get the school will get all of the photos that are taken, like sort of mingling, welcome drinks, everything like that. The only thing they won't get are all the sort of individual snapshots of students behind the board, like the screen.
But your school had paid
my
for
school paid
every single student
to have an individual photo. I think in the future, if we were to buy a like one of those Canon printers that prints on the night, our prices would go up because of how expensive the ink is.
So obviously you've got to think of cost of upfront and then cost per ink. So
that's why they are so expensive.
Brilliantly, Canon and other printers, when you print out, they actually can tell you how much it costs to print out that singular photo. So what we'd have to do is we'd have to print out some of the ones that we currently have, see how much ink it costs, and then sort of price them accordingly.
Which I suppose when we're using a black backdrop, it uses quite a lot of.
It use a lot of the black ink, but you've then got your blue, so it's like an RGB range. So it has like yellows, red, blue, and then your black. Yeah. So that's something that we want to do in the future. Obviously, upfront cost of a printer is quite expensive. That will do what we want it to do, and then obviously the ink, like that cost. Ink can be as expensive as the printer.
I think it was popular Like that was also good. I think the area we were placed in was actually quite a good area for you to take photos.
Yeah.
It wasn't in the main hall where it was all going on because it's quite dark in there, which would have made the photos
we did have our own lighting, but yeah.
It would have made it more difficult to take, and actually being out of the way so that you can actually talk to the kids, because obviously when the DJ's on, it's noisy. It was easier for me to be able to talk to them. One area that would be better in the future, which we'll talk to other schools about, is that school paid for every student to have a photo, but we didn't. If I hadn't have known the kids, it would have been very difficult for us to monitor who had a free photo and who hadn't. Maybe like a ticket system.
I think would have
been better.
I think we worked that out at the 74 that were meant to get free photos.
67.
I think we got to 67.
Which isn't too bad.
But also I would like to throw out there that we were both actively pushing for kids to get their free photo because it was something that they paid for. You know, at that age, they're 15 and 16, and if they don't engage their brain or don't want their photo being taken, then that's totally up to them. I just think
the ticket system might have worked a bit better, especially for those students, which we'll say to other people that if they were to buy a photo for every single person, give them a ticket with their name on it so that it'd make it easier for me.
That is a good idea. We have still got we've got this week and then next week before the next prom. So 9th.
No, it's 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is it was 2 weeks last Friday.
Yeah.
But if we get an email sent out on Monday, we might be able to get that done.
Yeah, even those, if they're doing tickets, can they have their names on them, or having a member of staff with us so that we can...
Yeah, it like that. It was our first time and like that we've learned a lot of things. Was there anything else that you thought went well?
The system went well.
Yeah, we made a spreadsheet.
Linking it to the computer and
so
that the kids could see the photo as they were being taken. That worked well.
Like that, I use the Canon Professional Digital Program Software 4. So that means as soon as you take the photo, it appears on the computer. It doesn't save it on the SD card. It saves it straight to the computer or a hard drive or something like that. So like that, we didn't have the worry of a SD card going corrupt. And we also had the option for children to see the photo live.
Which I think is good. I think they liked being able to see the photo. And then they can say to us, I'm not keen on that one, can I have it again. And it's no issue for us to take another photo.
No. About to say the list is quite short, but ultimately it is just because things kind of just went well. I think there's more things that we would improve.
But that's because it was our first
time. But I don't actually think anything that we've got to improve on, I think, is very little. I think
one thing we can probably improve on is you forget the 15, 16-year-olds, they don't know how to pose, they don't know how to, so we need to make sure we
by the end of it, I'd sort of got into the swings of it. The first couple, I was just making sure that the photos came out really well. By the end of it, and I knew some of the children as well, so sort of by the end of it, and when it was kids that I had personally interacted with in the past, I was able to sort of give them some tips. Don't play with the wire, just in case you yank it out.
But sometimes, like, if we got like a stool that they can sit on, just to make them a little bit more quirky.
Yeah.
We had one group do silly photos, but 2 photos were quite silly, but it's just trying to engage with them so that...
Some of them were quite socially awkward, and some of them have never had their photos taken by a professional photographer as such. So for some of them, it was quite a good experience, and I think hopefully some of them will go on to sort of do more of that, because some of them were really good in front of the camera.
Yeah.
Like that, some of the things that just went well is that we was organised our side on the night. Maybe we could have been more organised, but that can only get better now because we've got all the equipment, we've got the spreadsheets, so all of that stuff is better. Our list of things can improve on is not necessarily our fault. I think it's something that we need to negotiate / speak to the
event organisers.
Yeah, actually, there is one thing that I need to do before the next one. And I mentioned this in the last podcast, and I should have listened to myself. I need to buy spare batteries.
Yeah.
By the end of the night, I was having to turn off the camera in between photos to save battery, because the battery I'd had it on for 4 hours. I'd think I'd probably taken over 1,000 photos. It'd been on solidly for 4 hours.
Yeah, that's probably something that
I'm probably going to look at getting some batteries ordered within the next couple of days, potentially. Things that we didn't do were hand out business cards, but that was because I used to work at that school, and it's become like a bit of a meme or a bit of a joke that me and you are together.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it wasn't a wise idea to hand out my business card because it has my mobile number on it. And the issue with that is, with students that don't know me, they're not going to ring me and text me, "You would like to hope."
Yeah.
But if they did, then we could speak to the school.
Yeah.
/ I can just block their number.
Yeah.
But then when it's kids that you know,
they're
more likely to take, not even take the mic, but they're more likely just to message you because they might just think that, like, for example, one kid who had braids, who gets on really well with me, might just message me being like, "I don't want to go for a kickabout." And then there's that borderline of, is it appropriate, is it not inappropriate? Yeah. So we just made the decision not to hand out business cards.
Because that school were all getting free photos, and because I worked there, they have no real reason to contact you. Because the sort of communication goes through me. Whereas when we go to this next school,
they're older. We're doing their sixth form prom.
No, we're not.
Oh, Tyler and
we're doing the year 11. But with that, it's that we will take their photos, and a couple of questions came up from the sixth form school with like, how are you going to get the photos from you? Can they buy them after the night? Can they do this? Can they do that? So it's just trying to think of, so the business card would hand out, and what I've said to the school that we've just done is that if they
have like a week's
they
grace,
have a week grace, so they'll tell me that yes, we want these photos.
These are for kids that didn't pay on the night, by the way.
And then if they pay by the Friday, I'll order the photos for them. So we've just got to think of a way. The only thing is, with putting them all online and putting like Mason Productions all over them, it costs us money, and at the minute, being so small, we are trying to cut costs.
Yeah, we're trying to save on where we can, and make, the thing is if you put them online, the thing is, you want, if they've not paid for them, you don't want them to get them.
Don't do that.
Is ultimately
what an annoying noise.
Is ultimately what you don't want.
So I think we've got to have a think about how we can like, for the students who, I think what they need to do is either pay on the night, or they choose your photo, and if you haven't paid, then you haven't paid, or they can email and say, look, you took a photo of me, and we can send a couple over with sort of the watermark over them, so they can't use them. I don't know.
Yeah, like that. We can maybe watermark them, and like that. We do like that. If they've got our contact details, we can also do bank details.
Yeah.
For schools that we don't know.
And but that's why we have the business cards, because we would just hand them the business cards out. They can contact us, especially if they've ordered.
It might be worth for some of the. Oh, excuse that. We'll just sit through that for the next 10 seconds. There might be a cut here.
Must be 9 o'clock. Beep, 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 beep.
Uncut. So I think I've just had a brainwave, and it might be something that we might do with the business card. If they say, I want, these are the photos that I like, we might be able to write, like, have a piece of paper or like a ticket system, and then staple it to our business card.
Well, we have got that invoice book downstairs.
So then we can put like the image number,
image
number, staple it, and then be like, once you have a payment method, reach out to us. Because it might be that we do it over the phone, or we go, here's the photos that you liked, messages. Because realistically, I'm going to hold on to these photos for like forever.
Yeah, that is true.
And they can go, because they might, in 6 months' time, their mum might go, oh, I wish that we had, and they can, what images have you got of me?
Yeah.
And then we could go, we've got da-da-da-da, and then we could do bank transfer. Just an idea. Like, they could write, if they have no, don't get me wrong, most kids either have
I suppose we could say next to it, like, image number, say 3, group photo or image number 4, funny photo,
Yeah.
just so they've got an idea. If they don't want to order them on the night, they can. Yeah, that's quite a good idea. We can get one of those invoice books, because then we've got a copy.
Yeah, but
of their names and stuff.
Going back to this prom, like that, things that could have gone better, I think, were actually not necessarily all our fault. Like I've just put school organise, for example. I don't know what that says. That's your handwriting.
Hard to take photos.
Oh, have you put that because of where people were stood?
Yeah.
Right, so I don't know if, at the school that I went to, there was a barrier, you stood that side of the barrier, cars pulled in, you saw people get out of their cars, and then you walked down and there wasn't parents everywhere, the parents were all behind you. For some reason, and normally at this school, or at previous proms that I've been and helped at, there's normally a barrier. They don't go that side.
I think they just they focus on the inside of the prom and not necessarily the car park. Do you know what I mean? Usually we've got barriers up to stop the parents coming across, and the parents were just like mingling with the kids. And to take good photos,
I was having to
a lot of your photos you've had to crop parents out or
what I had is I had a corner. So basically what I was going to do was I was going to get myself a chair. I was going to sit down and I could see the cars pulling in. So I could use my 70 to 300mm getting the cars coming in. Then as the students came out, I was going to literally twizzle on my chair, switch to my other camera that had the 18 to 55mm on, and I was just going to snap as they got past.
Yeah.
That corner literally was swamped by parents to the point where I was having to step out into the middle of the road, take the photos, then run to then get them walking down the red carpet. So that's one thing that I would, from schools is maybe just think about where you position the parents and where you want the photographer to be. Obviously, like that, I think they mainly focused on the inside, and like what you said, it's a bit of a rush on that day.
Yeah.
Also, one thing that isn't necessarily everybody's, some schools do it slightly differently, but at the prom that I went to when I was a student, it was one car at a time in the centre spot. And at the school that I went to, there was a bit of a road that you could loop round, and it's all slightly different. But we had a tailback of like 6-7 cars.
Yeah.
So it was like that car was that I couldn't get a snap of that one car or that just one, because it was open door, walk down, next car, one. Open door, and it was a bit of a mission trying to get all the photos. And I get that you don't want people being stood there for ages, but that is one thing that I would say would have benefited the photos of Arrival, even though that they've turned out really well, and just the overall, just the running of the prom.
I feel like that's probably about it, really, for stuff that they could have probably done differently. I think it was good that we did it at the school I work at, because it sort of got us in the swing of things. And we now know when we emailed the next school, right, we need a table, we need
to make sure that we've got power, blah, 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 blah. The last thing that is on this list that we massively underestimated was bringing change.
Yeah.
Something that completely, kids I've spent £6, they needed £4 change, and we just didn't have £4. Luckily, we was able to sell.
It's more because I work there, I could say, oh, well, do you not think your mum would want a bigger photo of you? So how about you get 2 7x5 inch for £2 each, and then that fills your gap up. So
as we might not necessarily be able to do that at the other schools because we don't know them, and also they might just be like, no, I just want to spend £5.
Yeah, so like that, we're going to take about £30 into the bank. Just say, can I have this in 20 quid's worth in pounds, and then 10 quid in fivers or something, just so that we've got enough.
It's just there for change.
The thing is people are going to bring notes, because you're not going to bring coins.
No. But that is kind of everything that was on our list. I think for the first event that we've done, I think they've gone really well. The photos have turned out really well. I only had to edit. One thing that I will touch on is the positioning of my lighting. I'm going to improve on that. I'm going to do lots of. I need them higher, pointing down, and maybe the other two pointing low.
Yeah.
The issue is that I had them at sort of head height, so when children with glasses, luckily there was only 2.
Yeah. But even mine, when we took them,
when they stood in front, you could see the glare. So I've had to this afternoon spending my time editing out the glare on all of them photos. But that's all something that, you know, learning curve, positioning of lighting. Ultimately, all of the photos came out really well. I think people are going to be happy with the prints.
I've just had a thought now. You know, obviously when it's Hampton, well, wherever and the other one, the sixth form one, I think when it's them, the invoice will work well because we'll write their name on it and then we can put that in the envelope or whatever we send back to the school with just their name on it. Because if not, the school are just going to go, well, what on earth are we going to do with all these? But if we have their name, which I know we'll have their name on the laptop, but if we've got their invoice as well, we can just put it.
We can marry up the photos,
and just so that we've got a bit of a
100%. I think that's kind of everything. I know that it's been a little rushed, but we didn't want it to be. We didn't want this podcast to be majorly long, and also I just wanted to touch on all of the things.
It's not going to be. We also you've got loads of photos to edit because we want it to be a quick enough turnaround for them.
Yeah, so like all of the photos today, they've all been put into the folders of the student's name. The ones that needed editing have been edited, and basically, I'm now going to sit down and edit this podcast so that it's up. But ultimately, we're just really super busy.
Yeah.
Small business, doing everything ourselves. We haven't got a massive team behind us. Obviously, there's Tyler. He's working on a project that he's being paid for. So it's all go at the minute. I hope that you guys understand, and I hope that you appreciate the shorter podcast with the one camera. But our first prom was a success. We've taken some learning curves from it. Is that the right word?
Learned some lessons.
We've learned some lessons, and we're going to apply it to our next couple of events.
Yeah.
Like that. Thank you for listening. Subscribe, like, follow, listen, share. Speak about it in the playground. Speak about it at work. Thank you for listening. It has been Dan from Mason Productions and
Sarah.
Thank you very much. Boom. See you later. Bye.